All right, folks, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music in real time for a few real people out there, just like you and me. You have to visualize the pointing because this is the Dave podcast here. I did a couple of these last week, and response was not so bad, so I figured I would do a couple more here and there. I wanted to recap the Eric Clapton thing because quite honestly, a lot of people are wondering why. Why? Why is he talking to you? Why are you doing interviews with Eric Clapton? And if people have been following this channel, you know I did 2 interviews with Eric last year. And one of them, or it might have even been the year before now. I mean, time has gone by, and I can't really keep track of when those interviews came out. But Eric and I have remained in contact with one another. He's been busy. He's been working and plotting and planning because, you know, he's not doing the dignified retirement that the rock world wanted him to embrace. And I said, hey, you know, we haven't heard from you in a while. So why not do a video and just update people on how you're doing and what's going on? And he said, yeah, let's do it. And it's bizarre. I know there are probably a number of people out there far more qualified to interview Eric Clapton. But here's where the mainstream guys, you know, have gotten it wrong for 2 or 3 years, is that their approach to Eric Clapton, when he decided after his second time doing the CVS Walgreens thing, after the second time, and things didn't work out so well for him, that he was going to speak out against it. And holy crap, Batman. I mean, people who had loved Eric Clapton their whole life, well, I'm going to get rid of my Eric Clapton CD collection because of what he's doing. And there were a number of people who weren't really following the situation, who were saying things like, you know, he just needs to get on board. He needs to just go and do the thing. And he had already done the thing twice. And of course, that's not in the news. And then, you know, he was cavorting with some people, one in particular, whose first name is Robin, that's all I'll say, who has a very large platform. And let's just say Robin is very anti-establishment, anti-thing. In fact, I believe Robin helped Eric write one song, one of his more recent singles, and everybody missed what they were trying to say in the song. It went over everybody's head because nobody really listens to music anymore the way they used to. And not only that, they probably didn't appreciate the message about isolation, about hurting children, all of those sorts of things, because it was for the greater good, right? We had to throw common sense out the window because it was for the greater good. And some people are still doing it. They're still claiming that, hey, if I had the chance, I would do the same thing. Well, you know, all I can tell you is if you did do the thing and you're doing well, God bless you. Maybe you didn't get the entire full strength version of it, because there's a lot of conspiracy stuff out there. And quite honestly, conspiracy theories have had a really good record over the past 2 or 3 years. And a lot of people, they don't want to admit that maybe those crazy people had a point. I mean, the crazy people certainly had a point when it comes to government control of your life. You know, we used to hear my body, my choice, but that only applies in certain areas. It doesn't apply in other areas, which is bizarre. Oh, that's totally different. This is to protect, you know, me from you. Okay, well, if you, again, this logic was just great. If you went and did the thing, why do you need to be protected from me if this is the only way that you can get out of this situation. Why do you need protection from me? Because I chose not to do it. Just bizarre logic. And that's when I knew that this was cultic. But here's the punchline, though, that's important. A rock musician who I know and really appreciate, who I think very highly of, said to me, I couldn't travel. I couldn't go overseas and do gigs unless I did this. And so I did, because I wanted to make money and take care of my family. And this isn't a guy, on the top end of things where he could just lay low for a couple of years and live off his savings account. So yeah, it's like extortion or blackmail or, hey, you've got to do this. And I get it. There's toxicity on both sides of this, because sometimes the people who are against this are very loud and they sound a little bit crazy. But then the people on the other side of this too, who think this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, those people are completely ignorant of science. They're completely ignorant of peer-reviewed studies. They're completely ignorant when it comes to all-case mortality at the insurance company. They don't see a problem with a 10% or 20%, or in one study, I think it was 40% increase. I mean, where does that come from? Oh, well, it's just a coincidence. Then you've got all these medical coincidences happening all over the place. And it's just bizarre. It's bizarre because there seem to be scales on people's eyes regarding this. And they just either don't want to see it or can't see it. So anyway, getting back to Eric Clapton, he and I formed a friendship because I think I was one of the only guys doing videos about musicians who were belligerent toward other musicians who chose a different path. That's what it all boiled down to. And it was frightening how many people came out of the woodwork to throw stones at Eric Clapton. And so, yeah, if you guys are wondering, like all of these, super mainstream YouTubers with high production value in their content, and they're out there, doing these, and I'm not talking about, upstart channels or things like that, or guys who aren't as famous. I'm talking about the big YouTubers who are constantly, talking about what song back in 1982 was a song that was a great hit song that you might have missed, blah, 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 and all this stuff that, to me, it's like junior high. It's all junior high. And maybe some people, they forget after all this time. And then, of course, the radio gets rid of half the music because, they know what's best for you to listen to. But all of those people were going along with the narrative, or they didn't do anything about it because they just stayed in their lane, which is fine. But because they stayed in their lane, they didn't endear a lot of sympathy, right, for those who were out here screaming and yelling, wondering, why do these people just keep going along with this? And it's like the iHeartRadio media industrial complex. And this isn't something that many of us understand anymore, because we like variety. We like things that are interesting to listen to. We don't like hearing the same music all the time. And that dovetails with the same political message that you're listening to all the time. Obey the government. Obey the experts. These people are experts. Are you an expert? Are you a doctor? Over and over again. And now that all of these people have been proven wrong, I mean, they couldn't even get the origin of where this came from correct. They couldn't get that right for 3 years. And there were people out there saying, you know what, I think it came from a lab. I think it might have come from a lab. And then those people were shouted down and made fun of and told to go and, do your do your duty, do your civic duty over at CVS. So, in any event, folks, Eric Clapton is just a good guy. I keep telling people, they ask me, hey, what is he like? I'm like, he's just a really good guy. I mean, the conversations we had before and after the video were fantastic. And we talked about a lot of things. But, when you meet somebody and you have something in common and you have more or less the same worldview, you see the world the same way, and everyone else is telling you that you're insane and you're a conspiracy theorist, and then you meet somebody who totally gets it. Now, that's the way I felt too when I spoke with Joe Lynn Turner, who's another guy who's wide awake and understands what's going on. But the rest of the rock media, yeah, not so much. Not so much. They tend to put things out there that highlight what they consider to be all of these strange people who are running around saying strange and crazy things. So, in any event, folks, I wanted to give people a little recap on Eric Clapton. He's just a good human being, and he's a pretty good musician, right? He's a pretty good guitarist, and he's got music coming out. So he's not retiring yet. He's doing the Jeff Beck tribute, and I think he's probably got more things that are going on that will happen this year. So you want to stay tuned for that because, again, he's still got it. He can still sing, he can still play. And, most of these musicians are either retiring or they're not here anymore. So take the Eric Clapton thing as just bonus time, like extended play Eric Clapton. Because, again, if this were like 1997, some of the tunes that he's come out with recently would be all over the radio, except for the fact that programmers would be inspecting those lyrics and saying, oh, well, sounds like he's anti-lockdown. Imagine that being a pejorative. You're anti-lockdown. Yes, I am. I am proudly anti-lockdown. Thank you. All right. So that's my little podcast here. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Patreon for $1 a month if you want to support the channel. YouTube memberships. I've noticed, I think there are a few people joining the YouTube membership team, and I appreciate all of that. I appreciate everyone out there. Thanks again, and I will talk to you all soon.